Hi. You know, I don't normally post 2 videos in a week. I don't normally post 2 videos in a month. And I don't think anyone has seen my face on YouTube before. But I learned something this weekend that I was so excited about that I just felt that I needed to share it. So here it goes. I love the synchronicity of life. You know, those serendipitous moments when seemingly unrelated things just kind of happen out of the blue, and it just kind of makes sense out of everything in life, right? So about 2 weeks ago, I got on the traveler's notebook bandwagon. I had resisted for a really long time, and that's what my video was about last week, just talking about, you know, I thought that they looked very clunky and junky and disorganized, and that just wasn't for me. But I have since taken my head out of the sand and realized that they are a wonderful resource. And so I purchased one. And I was just getting kind of acclimated to it, and I was, on Saturday, I think, I was looking at Instagram, and I noticed that enthusiastically Dawn had posted something on Instagram, and one of the hashtags she had used was One Book July 2017. And I'd never heard of One Book July, but I was intrigued. So I did a little bit of internet research, and that led me to YouTube, and that led me to Romany's Realm, and that led me to watching the introductory video of this wonderful challenge that I guess has been going on for several years now, but I just discovered it on Saturday. And for stationary junkies like myself, the challenge is to only use one notebook and one pen for the entire month of July. Except if you watch Romany's video, there really aren't any rules. So I guess that's how it originally started, but you can kind of make your own rules and still be a part of the community, and I love that idea. So, so the first thing was that I had this traveler's notebook that I wanted to learn how to use, so that's part of the challenge for me. The second kind of serendipitous moment is that July 1st was not only the start of One Book July, but it was also the start of Camp NaNoWriMo. And if you are unfamiliar with NaNoWriMo, it stands for National Novel Writing Month, which typically is in the month of November. And the basic premise of NaNoWriMo is that you write a 50,000 word novel in 30 days time. So the November challenge is pretty rigid and pretty structured. For July, however, because it's camp and because it's summer, the rules are a little bit less rigid. In fact, you kind of make your own rules for whatever writing project you're working on. And there's really no prizes or anything except that you try to develop a writing discipline or a writing habit that will carry you through the rest of the year. So I had already registered for Camp NaNoWriMo, and I have this traveler's notebook that I want to learn how to use, and I've got One Book July. So I'm so excited. I have a community that I can be a part of, and it's going to help me become a better writer and to use the tools that I have on hand. So this is my introductory video to my One Book July and what I plan to use and how I plan to use it. So I am, of course, going to use my traveler's notebook that I purchased and I have filled. And so I thought, and this traveler's notebook, so for me, I will be using one other notebook in July. I will still have my bullet journal that I will keep my daily calendar and planner and basic any kind of brain dumps that I want to use. But this one notebook is going to be my writing notebook. And so I thought, let me just quickly show you how I kind of have it set up. And maybe what I can do is report in every once in a while and let you know how the July is going. So the first thing that I have is, I think I have 4 different moleskin Volant Cahier notebooks inside my traveler's notebook. I love these notebooks. I have talked about this in my last video. I love the size of them. I love the thin lines. I love the thickness of the paper. I love that they come in a variety of different colors. I just love everything about them. And so I knew that I had a writing notebook system that I liked, and I didn't want to change that. So when I bought my traveler's notebook, I made sure that I got the wide size, which adequately holds the notebooks that I plan to use. So anyway, the first notebook that I have is called a journaling notebook, and that is because I just released my first self-published book on journaling. And I know that I want to maintain a newsletter, and I know that I want to maintain a marketing effort, and I want to maintain journal prompts. There's all kinds of other activities that I would like to do with regards to the book, even though the book is written. And so that's what this first notebook is about, is to keep all of that kind of marketing stuff in one notebook. And then what I have here, and I learned this from Enthusiastically Dawn, and so I copied it. I might need to get a better color, but this was the only folder that I had on hand. But basically it's a little hack to keep a folder system inside my notebook. And I am probably going to fill that with all kinds of probably recipe cards that's going to be used in this notebook, and just various kinds of index cards and that kind of thing. The next notebook that I have is my brand new writing project, and it's a pretty aggressive one because I hope to have it published by November, so I need to get started. But basically this project, the tentative title is The Italian Family Christmas. And my husband's family is 100% Italian, and we have all kinds of Italian traditions that we incorporate every year. I want to do a little bit of historical research to find out kind of where they originated, and how has the Totoro family adapted the Italian traditions to suit our needs. So anyway, it'll have all kinds of recipes, and it'll have anecdotal stories, and it'll have a little bit of historical research and that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is where I plan to keep all the notes for that. And then this is just the back flap of that wonderful folder hack. And then the last two notebooks are two middle grade stories that I'm working on. This one is a brand new one. I've done very little research on this one. Corie was actually my husband's grandmother. And she was born in America, but many of her brothers and sisters were actually born in Italy, and then they immigrated to America in 1901. And so I'm doing some ancestral genealogy research, but all of her siblings have died. Corie has died. Corie did not have any children. So there are a lot of holes in this family history. And so what I would like to do is I would like to honor Corie, and I want to include as much of her story that I know in a book, but I'm going to have to embellish with a lot of fiction. But anyway, it's a story that at least I know my own children will enjoy reading. And then the very last notebook that I have, First Impressionism was the original title of this middle grade novel. It has since changed to now be a series called Travel Through Art. And the first in the series is called Ellie's Paris Adventure. I'm almost done with this book. It has been 7 years in the making, many drafts. I finally have a proof to look at. So what I hope to do for the month of July is I want to go through the proof. I want to revise it. I know I need to do a little bit of character development, and so that's what I plan to use this notebook for, is to keep track of all the revisions that need to be made, any additional character development that I want to do for this book or for the next book in the series. And then the last thing that I have is my pens. There is no possible way I could do one pen in July. I love colored pens, so I have those in here. But anyway, so this is my one notebook. My project is my writing project, which will be my Camp NaNoWriMo project. And I hope to do it all in my brand new traveler's notebook. And I have a sneaky suspicion I am going to be so in love with this notebook by July 31st, I'm going to have to get another traveler's notebook. But shh, don't tell my husband. Anyway, that is my introductory video for One Book July 2017. And I know that the subtitle of this is Go Big or Go Home. And my go big is to finish all of these writing projects and be well on my way to a self-published book in November.